And oops. George, we can't see you. Ah. Monica.
I guess I'm on mute. David, George,
Monica,
how's everyone?
how are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
It's finally dawning on me that tomorrow is going to be a big day.
Yeah, tomorrow is going to be something. I've got my little countdown app on my phone, counting down. We got 17 hours, 3 minutes, and 27 seconds to go.
So you might know. So when's I know it says the ceremony, the broadcasting starts at 10:30 in the morning, but when are we supposed to really tune in? I mean, I know we're supposed to watch the whole thing.
Well, I mean, he gets sworn in at noon. Like literally noon is when the one term ends and the new term begins. So that's the big moment. So Kamala's will be like a few minutes before then. Because they time it so that the president-elect gets supposed to be sworn in at noon on the dot. They usually don't get it quite right. It's usually like a minute or two later.
Sure.
But that's what they strive for.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
I know I should know this, but it's just another example of you're never too old to learn something new. Right, George?
No, completely wrong.
All right. Maybe in my case, I should have known it like a long time ago. But please, well, anyhow, I'll just stop right there.
Right.
Remember, George, we're on the Family Channel right now.
I'm trying to remember.
Everything's being recorded, so you have to be.
Yeah.
Right.
I know. So it's being recorded. God's always watching. Wherever they are. I've got my window. I mean, I know this is I got my window open because we have a barred owl that's been around Tilden Gardens for a while, and it's a little bit early. It's like only 7 o'clock, and I guess it's a he. I think it's a he, but he's already hooting.
Oh. A lot of helicopter activity in the course of the day today up here.
Yeah.
Well, right now, and I don't know the latest, and I figured I was not about to go down there and try to figure things out because it's an active scene. But around 4:30-ish or so, there's a huge presence of MPD at Yuma in Connecticut by the Days Inn.
Really?
Yeah, and there's postings on Popville and Nextdoor about it and exactly what's going on. Allegedly a suspicious vehicle, but there's someone saying that police were actually going into Days Inn and going door to door. Allegedly, I don't know. I figure it's a developing situation, so let's let it play out first, and then we'll get a report from MPD as to what happened, or I'll call Jamie Hauser tomorrow and ask him.
Yeah, I saw a couple when I was finishing a bike ride right around 5, and there were two police cars out front, and right out front Days Inn. So
now, I mean, when I saw pictures, it was more than just 2 police cars. It was quite a substantial presence. Yuma, like a lot of them were actually on Yuma, like by the alley, and apparently the alley was closed off for a while, or might still be. I haven't seen any updates on any social media, so I don't really know what the latest is.
Yeah, there was like 8 or 9 of them out there.
Oh, thank you.
This is Gloria.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
At first we thought it was the law school, so I went running down there to make sure like our offices, but it had something to do with that car, like you said. Monica. It was a suspicious vehicle.
And are they still out there?
No, I just walked out there with the dogs right before this and it's all clear.
Okay. So I haven't seen any updates from anyone, so
Yeah. Popville's the best source, honestly.
them and Nextdoor usually are pretty good, but I haven't seen any updates. So, but at least it's all clear. That's good. to know.
Yeah, I checked the MPD Twitter line and they haven't posted. I'm sure they've got so much other stuff going on.
Yeah.
Because I never barely saw anything about the suspicious package at the firehouse last week when they shut down Connecticut Avenue in both directions until after it happened. So I think they're trying not to alarm people with all of this stuff. But did you hear about that one?
I did see the alert about that one.
Yeah.
And that passed fairly quickly as well,
Yeah.
without incident. So let's see, do we have critical mass here? I think we have everyone. So it is, yeah, it's 7, well, let's see, I can see Alexandria, got David, Claudette, Deepa, Stan.
Alex is here too.
Yeah, I think Matt is the only one I don't see yet. So give it another moment for Matt to arrive, and let's go ahead. So welcome everyone. We'll officially get things started. So welcome everyone to ANC3F's first meeting of 2021, and it is an exciting kickoff because we have a substantially different commission than we did in 2020. We have 5 brand new commissioners joining us, and I'm very, very excited about that. And so let's start with our roll call, and I will just simply simplify things and call people off as I see them. So start, Monica Nemeth, current chair of 3F, or at least the next few minutes, and Commissioner for 3F06. See David, Commissioner Christille.
Yeah, good. Happy New Year. David Christille, I'm the commissioner, ANC commissioner for 3F01, and I'm glad to be here. And Monica, remember, you're chair for the entire meeting.
Yes, I will chair the duration of the meeting, though our first order on the agenda will be, once we approve the agenda, will be officer elections. And Commissioner Mehta.
Everybody, good evening. Thanks so much for joining. I'm Deepa Mehta, and I am excited to start my term to represent 3F03.
Welcome, and Commissioner Appa.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. Happy New Year to all. I'm also excited to start my duties as a commissioner. There's been some exciting things going on. I see you, James. Hi, James, from the Housing and Neighborhood Committee. Yes, and I represent 3F02.
And Commissioner Wall.
Hi, good evening. Stan Wall, Commissioner from ANC 3F04. Like others, very happy to be here. Very excited to be part of the commission and excited for the next 2 years of work that we plan to do to continue to make our community a great place to live. So thank you for coming up and welcome.
And Commissioner David.
Happy New Year, everyone. My name is Claudette David, and I am the Commissioner for 3F05, and I look forward to working with everyone soon.
And Commissioner Bachner. Did I get that pronunciation right? It's going to take me a while to make sure I get that right.
Close enough, better than most people. Hi, everyone. My name is Matt Bachner. Welcome and thanks so much for coming and for your continued engagement in ANC 3F. I represent ANC 3F07, and I'm super excited to work with you all in this term.
Great. And so the first order on the agenda, as always, is our approval of the agenda, the draft agenda. And I received an email earlier today from Rachel that the financial report, the Q1 financial report is not yet ready, where she's expecting an updated spreadsheet from the Office of ANC because of the reconciliation that they're going through. So we're going to go ahead and wind up striking that item from tonight's agenda. Beyond that, I don't know if there's anyone have any other changes or comments for tonight's agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Aye.
Motion to approve.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? The motion is, the agenda is approved. And with that, we approved our meeting minutes from last time, and we approved our 3F meeting schedule, which will continue to be the third Tuesday of the month, with the exception of August and December. We'll be meeting at 7 p.m. While we're meeting virtually. We've moved it back 30 minutes during these virtual times. We'll probably go back to 7:30 once we are physically meeting, when, again, who knows when that'll be. But for now, at least we have dialed it back 30 minutes. And then we've also agreed to participate in the security fund. All that was on our consent agenda. So the first order of business tonight is the election of our ANC 3F officers. So because of the way our bylaws are written, because of our bylaws, the chair is term limited to 2 terms. I am finishing up my second term as chair. Therefore, I will not be continuing as chair for 3F. So first up is chair, and I believe Commissioner Castile has expressed interest in running for chair. And I don't,
Right, so I guess I have to, the way the rules go, I have to nominate myself. So
Or
I
I can-
nominate myself to be chair of ANC 3F.
will second that. And do we have anyone who, just to confirm, does anybody else wish to run for chair? Then all in favor of David Castile being chair of ANC 3F, please say aye.
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 All opposed? Abstentions? Congratulations, Chair Castile. You have my sympathy.
And thank you. I'll need lots of help, as those of you that have worked with me for a little bit know. But I'm really interested in helping, and I'll do the best I can. And I know there's a lot of you out there that'll keep me in line, fellow commissioners, and I'll work as much as I can with you all, and because we've got a lot of things to do. And I know this is a really nutty time. As I said before the meeting got started, at least hopefully starting tomorrow, there'll be some really good energy down the street from us. And but I'm excited, so I'll look forward to working with you all over the next year. We'll go from there. Thanks for the support.
And of course, I'm not going anywhere, so we'll still all be on, we'll all be in this together. Next up is vice chair, and I believe Alex, Commissioner Appa, has expressed interest in being our next vice chair. So yeah, I can see you excited. So I nominate Alexandria Appa to be our vice chair. We have a second.
Second.
And Alex, you accept, no doubt.
Yes, absolutely. I'm very excited.
And all in favor of Alex being our vice chair, say aye.
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 All opposed? Any abstentions? Congratulations, Alex. You are our vice chair.
Thank you. And like David said, I'm really excited to work. I'm so excited about the commissioners on this team we have our work cut out for us, and I'm really excited to really help move our community forward. And it's a really interesting and exciting time to be in office now. So look forward to all your support.
Absolutely. And next up is treasurer. And I believe Commissioner Wall has expressed interest in being our next treasurer. So I'll go ahead and just nominate Stan Wall to be treasurer. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
And Stan, no doubt you accept.
I accept.
And all in favor of Stan Wall being our treasurer, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Congratulations, Stan. And then finally, we have
Thanks
our-
all, and again, like others, also appreciate being part of the leadership for the ANC, and definitely look forward to getting down to business and getting things going immediately, and promise we'll have a financial report next time coming after this. So.
Yeah, and with the financial report, it's really because of an issue that happened at the Office of ANC when they were doing some transcribing some reports, and they reversed 2 digits in the process of transcribing something. And so now there's an error, and now they're trying to chase down the error. And it's actually the Office of ANC's fault and problem, and they're the ones who are trying to reconcile this, and that's where the delay is coming from. So it's not on us. It wasn't on Rachel or Naomi. It literally, OANC is owning up to it. It's like they say, yeah, we goofed. And finally, secretary. And Matt, Commissioner Buechner. Did I get it right this time? I think that's how has offered to be our secretary. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
And Matt, do you accept?
Absolutely.
Great. And so all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Sorry. All opposed? All abstentions? Congratulations, Matt. So we have our new list of officers, and I just want to say it's been a pleasure being chair for the last, I guess, it wound up being 18 months or so for me. And I'm not going anywhere, obviously. I'm still here but I'm excited to have all you on the commission and in leadership. This is going to be a great, great year. So congratulations to everyone, and welcome aboard.
Monica, we thank you so much for your leadership over the past. I know it's been like interesting couple of months, an interesting year. So we really appreciate your leadership and continuing to move the ANC forward.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica, for your service.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Okay.
Monica. And remember what you said about helping us, especially me. So thanks.
Oh, absolutely. That's one of my things, that I'm here to help you all. I know that's going to keep me very busy because I know how overwhelming it is when you first join, because I was there 2 years ago, and you guys are just getting a taste of just how much is being thrown at you at once. So I expect we're going to all be talking a lot, even just individually, as you're just going to have questions like, what do you do? How do you do this? And we're going to have a lot of executive meetings just to help bring people along, because it takes a while to sort of get a rhythm and to start to really just kind of feel your way through things. So I'm happy to do so. I'm very happy to do so. So next up is basically commissioner updates and announcements, where we always just simply go through each commissioner, see if they have any reports or updates that they wish to provide. So I'll just go down the list by SMD. I'll start with Commissioner Castile.
Monica, I really only have one update. Those of you that are following the Hearst Park and Pool I don't think it's a saga, but they're well under construction. I know they're more than a year behind, but there seems like they're getting back on track. There was a pretty large community meeting last week on the site with people from from our neighborhood, and then people from 3C05, which is adjacent to where most of the live. And so, but I think it's on, they're getting back on track, and God willing and weather willing, it'll be probably the end of summer and it'll get going. I think they're supposed to have the soccer field up by the end of April. I think that's a little optimistic, but so in any case, if you drive that part of the neighborhood, take a look and look at all the progress. Thanks.
Thank you. And Commissioner Alba, Alex.
I don't have any major updates. I know folks in my S&D have questions about the campus plan with Howard and that sort of thing. So I'm continuing to follow up there. We do have a few things on the committee that we're working on in terms of the housing in neighborhoods. I know there's been some safety concerns. So no major updates, but hopefully in the next couple of weeks or so, we'll have some more updates forthcoming.
Thank you. And Commissioner Mehta. Deepa?
I do not have any update or information on anything in particular. Just hitting the ground running just about now, so stay tuned.
Great. Commissioner Wall.
Very quick update. One, thanking George Hoffman as well as the Housing and Neighborhood Committee for helping to arrange a crime-related walkthrough, dealing with some of the apartments on Connecticut, the Brandywine and Chesapeake, and some issues that have been occurring there, as well as issues occurring in Forest Hills Park. It was a very constructive, informative meeting that was participated by MPD, Councilmember Che's office, the Mayor's Office of Community Relations was there as well, and essentially highlighting things for us to be focusing on as an ANC and its community toward, beginning to stem some of these issues that have been cropping up, and also looking at how we might reinvest and improve Forest Hills Park, which has fallen on less than ideal conditions, from 6 years ago when it was renovated. So stay tuned for that as we move forward and advancing some issues and ideas for trying to tamp down some of the crime that's been cropping up, as well as working with DPR and others to reinvest in bringing our park back to 100%. That's it for me.
Thank you. And Commissioner David.
I don't have any updates for now. You'll hear from someone from our board, William Dent, about our chiller. You'll get an update later on in the schedule.
Thank you. My update, kind of to piggyback on what Stan was talking about, we had that I thought that was a very good walk that we had. I guess this was just this last Saturday, I believe. And that's going to be an ongoing dialogue. We're going to really be working with MPD to engage them and seeing what we can do to I guess you'd call it community policing here, to really get things in the community, get the community engaged, and keep just keep an eye on things. I mean, they're telling us statistically that we're in good shape, yet somehow anecdotally it doesn't feel that way. And even just granted, this probably because of the heightened political situation with the inaugural events happening, and we just had what happened on January 6th, but literally a couple of hours before this meeting kicked off, right on the corner of Connecticut and Yuma, at the Days Inn, around there, we had an incident. Not quite sure what that was all about, but something with suspicious vehicle. So we need to be vigilant, and so we're working with MPD to keep an eye on things and to hopefully, I don't know what's the best language to use, but just keep on top of things. And that's really all I've got at this point. And Commissioner Buechner.
Major updates for me, but please let me know if I can be a resource to anyone in 3F07 or elsewhere in the neighborhood.
Thank you. Okay, committee reports. Let's start with, do we have anything from Parks and Watersheds this evening?
You know, I think Erica Rosenberg, the chair, is not here, and I spied David Barden, and if he can hear this, if you want to give an update, go for it. If not, I know they're having a meeting. I think it's on the 25th of January. He may not have. David, if you're out there, I sent you a message in the chat function. So if you didn't see it, but you can hear me, if you've got anything to say about the progress, I think you have the floor.
Okay, we'll just move on. If David wants to join in, we can. Streets and sidewalks.
Yes, hello, it's Bob, I'm here.
Hey, Bob.
So I sent around a report today that hopefully all the commissioners have received by now, just to outline what the Streets and Sidewalks Committee has been doing over the last year or so. We've been pretty busy. Of course, right now, as many of you know, one of the big issues on the table is this study of Connecticut Avenue, which the DDOT folks are doing. Commissioner Castile sits on the Community Advisory Council for that, so do I. And so hopefully soon we'll have more to report on that. There is a wealth of information on the project website for any of you who want to dive into it, including descriptions of all of the, what they call concepts that are under consideration. In terms of ongoing issues, in the last couple of months, our committee provided some comments on a draft plan to improve parts of Broad Branch Road, which has some pedestrian and other safety issues that we wanted to highlight. And we're just continuing everything we've been doing. Glad to take any questions. Welcome to the new commissioners.
Questions from commissioners? Okay. Thank you, Bob. And housing and neighborhoods, George.
Couple of items. Something that came up in December and we continued to discuss in January was a proposal put forward by Commissioner Castile and a member, James Tenderick, who's here tonight, and another member, Tavon Donovan, for a question: did we want to establish an education subcommittee? There was a discussion about whether that would not merit a standing committee, which I think the committee, Housing and Neighborhoods, basically is in favor of, and I believe is coming to the commissioners as a proposal either tonight or in the next meeting. A last minute proposal was forwarded by Commissioner Castile about a food bank that Ward 3 Mutual Aid wants to establish at UDC. How did we feel about that? We really haven't had time to think about that very much. Basically, I believe we're in favor, but want to discuss it a little bit more That again may be before you as a proposal tonight. Of course, our major issue was, as you mentioned, Monica, and as Commissioner Wall outlined, we had the spike in crime in the Forest Hills neighborhood, and Commissioner Namath quickly called a meeting for December 28th with Commander Bedlian and neighbors and herself and Commissioner Cristile. And Commander Bedlian suggested this walkabout, which happened on January 9th, which was wonderfully attended by Forest Hills neighborhoods and neighbors, incoming commissioners David and Mehta and Wall and both commissioners Christie and we had very good input from MPD and looked at Forest Hills Park, which is a very vulnerable place because it permits its openness and its accessibility permits bad things happening. So, and we have noticed some increased MPD patrols, and Commissioner Wall suggested that we meet with the property owners of the immediate buildings, the Brandywine, the Chesapeake, 4600 Connecticut, that either abut the park or are just across the street, so that we can talk to building managers about what steps they can take in addition to the steps that MPD is taking to make the neighborhood safe. There are a lot of reports on Nextdoor and coming through people concerned about their kids going to merge, being followed, one thing or another. And a lot of bad nighttime activity has happened. So we're very, very grateful to all the commissioners and look forward to this meeting with Commissioner Wall and others and hope very much for the best. Thank you.
Thank you. And then finally, grants. So we don't have a grants committee per se. And previously, Commissioner Mollett used to take the lead on that. And so going forward, I'm going to go ahead and take the lead on grants. Now, we're not in the grant cycle right now, but we will be accepting applications in March. And so I will be putting out the word at the next meeting and starting to drum up interest in that. But that's really the news coming out of grants. So up next is Burger King. Mark, I know I saw you here or log in, so welcome. Mark James.
Can you hear me there?
Sure can. How are you doing there?
Hi, good evening, and congratulations to you, David and Alex. Monica, will thank you for all your help on the Burger King project. I think our first meeting started with the coronavirus online back in March of last year. We've been working on this since then.
Yeah, I think we did have one. You came to our, I think you came to our final physical meeting. And
Yes,
then
ma'am.
after that, it was all virtual. Yeah.
That's correct, yes. So I'll give you a brief of what we're trying to do here, since there's a lot of new faces on the call. David, I know you were here the last couple of meetings that we attended. But basically what the Burger King is trying to do is an exterior and interior large-scale remodel, which we're going to continue into permit on that. Separately, however, I think why we're here tonight is that we have an ancillary parking lot in the back of the Burger King, which we use pretty much our sole parking on the lot. And so through the BZA, we have some conditions that we have to meet that allows us to use that parking lot. I believe we have it for another 8 years or so. This was in March of 2018. This was established with the BZA and the ANC. And one of the conditions on this application and exception was number 12, which said the applicant shall repave the existing parking lot with pervious pavement. So we've done some extensive work on this lot back there, and we've come to the conclusion that the lot is not, it will not drain properly with pervious pavement. Is essentially not going to work back there. So at the last meeting, we were asked by the commissioners to take it to Parks and Planning, which we did. And on the phone with us as well, we have our engineer, which I'd like to give him let him give a minute brief. And we have Claire McLean, who was our expediter, which can give you a briefing of Parks and Planning's conversation and where we would go from here. So I think what we're asking from Burger King's perspective is to amend or repeal this specific number 12 on our application. And it's in lieu of that, the engineer Ken Griffin has come up with a very nice proposal that I think that you guys will see fit, a nice addition to what's back there right now. So Claire, are you on?
Can you hear me? This is Claire McLean. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Hello. Hello. Nice to see you all again. Just briefly to reiterate, the issue seems to have been that the engineering firm that Mark has engaged has determined that it's very difficult to drain this property with pervious material. So the proposal that we made in our November meeting with you was that the engineering firm would try to develop a plan that would add more green area for potential drainage or to capture more of the moisture and water that's coming off of that, the paved area. And we subsequently consulted with DCDOEE as well, because they would have to review the plan if the ANC is in agreement that we could submit such a plan. And the response we had was quite positive. They agreed that it didn't look like we could meet the initial requirements of the BZA, which was some years ago. I'm not quite sure what the conditions of that parking lot were at the time. Maybe nobody realized that the pervious pavement requirement couldn't really actually be met. But in any case, we spoke with Julian Batista and also with some other folks there who agreed that the concept of adding more green area could likely satisfy both DOEE and potentially the ANC. And the last communication I had with them in December was that there would be some communication directly between the ANC and DOEE. In other words, they would initiate some conversation with you, which I don't know if they have, with the holidays and everything that's happened just in the early part of November or January. I haven't been able to follow up with Julian, but my understanding was she would be speaking directly with the ANC and she would entertain the review of a plan, which we did give a preliminary plan for. And Ken Griffin is on the call and he provided that plan to all of us at that time. And that is what we are hoping we can gain some interest and approval for. Ken, I think that's where we left it.
So,
Yeah, so I'll start. back a little way. So, well, a while back, we took and had a study done for infiltration testing with a company called ECS, who's, a large company, well known around the country actually. And they did the infiltration testing. They bored several holes in the back per the guidelines in the manual. And those tests came back very badly. There's shallow rock, dense material, and clay. So that's the opposite of what you want when you're trying to do infiltration. We've done this in other jurisdictions, like out in Northern Virginia. There's several locations that are very good for it, but this particular location is probably one of the worst I've ever seen for infiltration. You want a minimum of a ½ an inch per hour to drain when water's coming in. Say you have a pervious paving down, which could be concrete, asphalt, or pavers. The water infiltrates through that. It gets into some sand layers and some stone layers. You put in there, and it goes into the ground. So in our case, the ground is so hard and so clayey, and rock, it's only a few feet deep. It just can't work. So and DOEE agreed with that, and so we once we knew that, we did. I don't know if anyone has this plan, but we did this plan. Then those green areas you see are just areas that is existing paving today. And the only thing we could think of was to just try to make some green areas down there so that it would absorb more water, like Claire was saying, and just be a more environmentally friendly parking lot. So that's the plan. And the problem is we just can't get to infiltration. Now, if any of you know anything about that stuff, there is part in the manual where you can still do infiltration into some pipes under in the stone, but then you have to drain those pipes to somewhere. And in our case, this happens to be at like the top of a drainage shed or something, because on the city maps, which I also have here, I won't hold them up for you, but the city maps, there is no storm sewer within several hundred feet of this parking lot. So we can't even do that method. And DOEE was aware of that and also agreed. So I haven't heard back from DOEE, and I think, Claire, you said we haven't heard back?
We have not.
And they were supposed to contact the ANC and give their opinions of this idea. So that's where we're at today.
So I have not heard from DOEE, so I saw an email that Mark had forwarded me saying that they would reach out to us. They never did. And okay, it was holidays and such, so I've never heard from them. And honestly, Ken, when you just held up that drawing briefly showing those green spaces, yeah, that's the first time, literally right now, that's the first time I'm seeing that.
Okay. We could certainly email that right to you.
And I had asked Mark to send me all this information, send drawings. We asked to see the PERC report. We haven't even seen the data as to why, whether you want to call it PERC report, the infiltration.
Yeah, the infiltration test. We did send that package all down to the lady at DOE. I can't remember her name.
But it never made it to the ANC, and we would like to see that. And we need our Parks and Watersheds Committee to review that as well. We would like them to get we'd like to get their input on this. So at this point, you're bringing us, we're seeing all this new information that Mark, I asked you to send me all this data last week, and I still haven't received it. Ken is showing this to me on screen right now. You're muted, Mark.
My apologies. We had shared this with you on the screen at the last meeting, and we had discussed the green spaces, but I'll shoot that over to you. My sincere apologies. I'll get it to you right now, as well as the report. And I guess in the meantime, we will try to get back with DEOC and get them to respond to you directly. And we'll go from there.
Yes.
Yeah, one more note. When you're all reading that report he's going to send you from ECS Mid-Atlantic, page 5 is the important page. You can remember that, page 5. Okay. And you'll look on there and you'll see a chart at the bottom, and it says average fall inches per hour. And these tests are coming back at 0.05. That's 0.05 of an inch per hour. You need a ½ inch per hour, so it's way off. That's proving, and ECS would back that up. It's just proving that the earth there is not conducive to infiltration.
Okay. Thank you. And I'm going to open it up to questions from commissioners.
Monica, I have a question if you can, I just raise my hand.
Yeah, go right. Yeah, that's why I just simply called it out. Said, just go for it, David.
Right, one of
Yeah.
the intro to Zoom, the kind of letting people know what the rules are in terms of where the raise hand functions are, because we can't, there's two screens, and so if you're on the second screen, we can't see you. But in any case, the question is, Mark, what's the time? What's your absolute, your time frame on this, and when do you need, our feedback or our recommendation going forward? What's your drop dead?
We will be putting into permit. What we wanted to do is appease you guys in essence and get this done within the 3-year time slot that we were given back in 2018. So we're coming up on that, number one, and I'd like to get that into permit, whatever we have to do, whatever you guys decide and DEOC decides we need to do, we will do. We want to get it started. As far as the interior exterior remodel, we're going to go ahead and put that into permitting. I don't think there's any negative feedback. We brought that in front of the ANC as well. There was some feedback from that we took into consideration on the front sidewalk area with some bushes and shrubs and some plantings out front to kind of give it the same landscape. So we're going to start all of that that permit process now, which is, but specifically with this pervious pavement in the rear parking lot, we want to get in timely fashion what we were required to do.
And with that, because some of your permitting for your remodeling is going to require public space permitting, so that's going to come before us again.
That's correct.
So if you get that submitted in the next couple of weeks, we'll see you in February just to discuss that, just for the public space.
Okay, thank you for your time. My apologies on not getting that to you. I do know that we had shown that to the commission last time we were on, but I'll get that to you as well as that report. Would you like me to just send it directly to you?
Yes, please. Just send me all the material. And I see Commissioner David has her hand up.
All right, thank you. Just quick question. So what do you need from us? So you need help with getting this through DOEE, basically? Because you're waiting to hear back from them, right?
Could I interject? This is Claire McLean. Could I interject a moment, please, and answer the question, perhaps?
Yes.
So at the moment, the last correspondence we had with DOE was in the middle of December. So it was just before the holidays. Probably I should have followed up immediately after the holidays, but considering that time has gone very quickly, that was my fault. I expected to have heard from them prior to this, because the indication I had was that they were initiating some discussion with the ANC. So I wanted to step back from that, but we will follow up with the folks at DOEE, specifically Julianne Batista, whom we spoke with. And what we need from the ANC specifically is, I believe, and Mark can correct me if I'm wrong, is some sort of agreement that the condition of the BZA approval for this parking lot could be somehow modified to allow an exception to this pervious area requirement, which is virtually impossible to meet according to Ken's work and the studies of the engineering firm. So that's the primary thing I understand that we need in order to apply to make improvements on the parking lot. We are going to go ahead to apply for the building, but we actually don't expect to do that within a few weeks, which I think Monica referred to. It probably will be a little bit longer than a few weeks, but maybe soon. And it takes a lot longer, I anticipate, to get the building permit than it will be to get the parking lot permit and get that work done. So timeline would be, we need to have some help from the ANC, some support for mitigating the pervious area requirement. And also then we would need to have some support for any of the public use, public space use and so forth when we go forward with the other permits. But we expect it to take some months. It's not going to be an immediate thing. In other words, the process takes some months.
And also, so Claire, specifically, the Board of Zoning Adjustment issued that summary order that Mark was talking about, item 12, and there's several other things in there, but I assume the recommendation would have to go through zoning, then would that get to the zoning appeals people and they would have to reissue an adjustment to this?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And we had a 3-year time frame. We've been working on this for quite some time. I think 1.5 years or something, haven't we, Mark?
You're muted, Mark.
I'm sorry, that's correct. It's been a little bit over 1.5 years now, yes.
Hi, this is Deepa Mehta. I'm sorry, can we back up a little bit because several of us are coming in new on this. Ms. McLean, Mr. Griffin, Mr. James, can you just identify who your roles are in this process? I'm trying to figure out what roles each of you occupy in this process.
Yes, ma'am. So my name is Mark James. I'm sorry, I'm the owner's representative for the Burger King on Connecticut Avenue.
Oh, you're an outside consultant.
I'm the owner's rep. I work for the owner.
You work for the owner. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
And I'm Ken Griffin, and I'm the engineering company that Mark has hired to help him through the process, with the plans.
And I'm Claire McLean. I do permitting for Potomac Foods Group. So I'm a consultant for Mark to help him through the permitting process. So I've been interfacing with DCRA and DOEE and trying to find the right contacts for us to inquire about what kind of approvals we're going to be needing.
So, oh, sorry, excuse me. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No,
sorry. I just said I would be managing permitting as well.
Got it. Thank you for that. So Claire, just so we understand, there'll be, you anticipate, sounds to me like you anticipate 2 permits proceeding in parallel. And the building exterior and interior permit will be not in the next month, it sounds like. It sounds like it's a longer process. And the parking lot permit is not really yet off the ground because you need to get over or past this BZA requirement from 2 some odd years ago. Is that a fair summary?
Yes, essentially that's the case. The reason that we would, we don't expect the building permit to be able to be applied for just yet is because we kind of have to get some of these other things. We have to have a timeline for these other things, but also I don't actually have all of the materials I need to apply for that permit. Once I apply for that permit, building permits right now in DC are taking some months to obtain. So we expect a number of cycles of review comments and responses. So we don't expect that we would even have that permit for a number of months. And during that process, we would, as Monica alluded to, we would still have to get some ANC support for some parts of that permitting.
Okay, thank you for that.
Use space, yes.
Okay, any other questions from commissioners? Okay, then, Mark, look forward to receiving these materials so we can review them and also have our Parks and Watersheds Committee review them. And we'll take it from there. If there's potentially have you on our February agenda, we'll have you tentatively there. And we'll see if there's, we'll want to talk to DOEE and see, get the whole picture from them as well. So we'll confer offline about all this stuff and probably have you back here in February for the
Very
discussion,
well.
potential action at that time. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you for your time tonight.
Very welcome. Thank you. And Happy New Year again.
Thank you.
You as well.
Okay, and so next up we have 4801 Connecticut Avenue. And we have, I believe, Chris
Yes, can you hear me?
Sure can.
Hi, everybody. My name's Chris Kloros, and I'm representing the owner at 4801 Connecticut Avenue. I'm going to attempt to share my screen, but so he wants to replace, oh, the host, Monica,
Okay,
is
let
that you?
me make sure I can, hold on a second. Let me make sure I get that set up for you.
He essentially just wants to swap out the sign on Connecticut Avenue in front of his building.
Okay, try sharing again.
Okay. That work? I can't tell what you guys can
It's
see.
coming up.
Okay. So this is the sign currently. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so this is the sign that he'd like to replace. So the sign, let's see if it's going through the process, DDOT, we've been told that there's a gas line right here on the sidewalk. So we're actually pushing the sign up a little further to be farther away from the gas line. But this is a rendering of the sign. And then here's some more information or more detailed drawings that the sign maker provided us. But I can send you guys all this if you want to look more at the details. But as Monica pointed out, it's a pretty straightforward thing.
And you're here because this is public space where it's going.
Correct. So we're going through the Public Space Committee. Their hearing is next Monday, and we basically just need to get a ruling from you guys to bring to that meeting on Monday.
Okay. Do we have questions from any commissioners? I think, Stan, this might be actually your SMD.
Actually, Monica, this
It's
is Deepa.
Commissioner Matos.
Yeah, I think this is my SMD. I don't have any questions. It looks pretty straightforward to me, to be honest. And it also looks like it's an improvement because the sign looks like it can be viewed from more perspectives. Is that right, Chris? It looks like it serves more perspectives.
Yeah, that was one of it does. It's easier to read. I mean, as you can see, the sign is pretty small to read. So a lot of people have been having issues trying to locate the building. So it just makes it very obvious that this is 4801 Connecticut Avenue.
And this is a one-day project?
Yeah, it'll be, they won't take any public space. They'll most likely just pull up in either the parking lot out back or the driveway. They have to build a small foundation for this brick base, and then the sign just gets bolted to the top of that. It'll be
Very good.
fairly quick process.
Yep. Thank you. And thanks for the renderings. It's very helpful in terms of being able to visualize it.
You're welcome. I did not put them together. I'm just supplying them to you guys.
You could have taken credit. We wouldn't have known.
Questions from any other commissioners? Questions?
I would agree with Commissioner Matos. It looks much better than the current sign that's there. And, you know, this is right on the border of our two districts. The one thing I would ask is that, you know, independent of this new sign, just encouraging the property management there to ensure that as much as possible, people aren't doing, you know, parking and drop-offs on the street in front of that driveway. That really constricts the entrance into Davenport off of Connecticut Avenue. And particularly with pedestrians crossing, with the slow street sign, it's a very tight area. And I've seen more than a few cars just, you know, parked there, you know, waiting to drop off or pick up. So if, you know, the driveway can be used for that purpose, that'd be great. But for the sign itself, I don't have any problems at all. I think it looks nice.
I will pass that along to the owner.
And David, let's see, you have your
Yeah,
hand.
I think, yeah, the sign looks great. I mean, I kind of like green, but I think what you're proposing is an improvement. And again, I'll defer to Deepa. But I guess one question I do have is at nighttime, is there, I mean, what do you think it's going to look at night? Is there going to be a spotlight on it, or is there any kind
I
of?
believe there's going to be a spotlight on the ground uplighting the signs on both sides.
Okay, thanks.
Mhm.
But it looks great.
Okay. Any further questions, comments? for anyone? Okay.
Question, Monica, will we get some sort of written response from you guys?
What we will do is there's a system in DDOT called TOPS, which you might have
Yeah.
experienced already.
Oh, I have.
We literally will put in our response into TOPS
Okay,
at the conclusion of this meeting or tomorrow. Because literally we get a notification from TOPS that there's a project to be reviewed, and if you go into TOPS, you'll see that there's a review chain, and one of them is the
Right.
AEC, and so that's where we will respond within TOPS itself.
okay, great. I just
I
wanted
will-
to make sure.
I will do that tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for the information.
And
Yep.
so, do we have a motion a motion for action? Do we have a motion to approve?
I would like to make a motion to approve the sign at 4801 Connecticut, the sign replacement at 4801 Connecticut Avenue.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Any abstentions? Done. Chris, thank you for coming, and as Deepa
Great,
said,
thank you guys.
we'll get it into TOPS tomorrow.
All right, thank you so much. Everyone have a good evening. Stay safe.
Thank you. Good night. And next we have 2717 Chesapeake Street coming up. Mark Bisnow, and I think you have other representatives here. Hi.
Yeah.
And Deepa, this is also your
Most
SME, so I'll
Most
let you.
important- Okay, among our representatives, my
I-
wife here, Margot, and I'm Mark Bisnow. And we have Chris Cohen of Holland and Knight standing by if needed. So this is an application that's before the BZA from us for a special exception to attach a new 14-foot wide single car garage structure to our house. We've never had a garage in the 36 years that we've lived there. The house did originally have a garage, but that was covered over in the 60s. And it would go, just that 14 feet would bring the structure 4.5 feet into our side yard setback. So we would need a special exception for that. The garage would be at grade, but there would be a basement room as well below it and a second floor room above it, mainly because we want the roof line to match our existing house, so it looks like it's always been there. The reason for the 12-foot wide single car garage is because 12 feet is the minimum width we think we need for car clearance, and there is an existing chimney that uses up 2 feet of the width. And in fact, there's a little more width, of course, that's needed for a wall. Our neighbor with whom we are friends, our immediate neighbor, has submitted a letter stating that he supports our project, provided it does not impact his rights or ability to build on his lot. You may, if any of this sounds familiar, it's because in October, we got approval, and thank you for this, from the ANC, as well as unanimously from the Public Space Committee for a curb cut for this project. We sought a curb cut first because the zoning office actually told us that getting a curb cut would be much harder than getting a special exception. So we ought to try that, make sure we could get that first, which we did. And at that time, we explained the reasons for why we want a garage, which I can review after my initial comment, if you like. The unusual thing about our addition is that it would actually be facing a very, very large vacant lot. So normally there'd be no issue. Our next neighbor over, the neighbor I mentioned, who's our friend, his house is like 200 feet away, and there's sort of a semi-forested and very, bushy, very pretty area between us. He actually owns 2 lots, and the lot that we would be facing is a vacant lot. It's always been vacant. As I say, we've lived there 30 years, 36 years. We knew the last owners that bought in 1952. I mean, it's always been treated as the main yard, even though of the house next to us, even though it's in front of that house. But our neighbor, whose house is on the other lot, with the vacant lot between us, who's currently living in California, so I'm not sure when he would do the following, but he says that he would like someday to come back and build a 3-car garage on that vacant lot, serving his existing house, and also a housing unit for his aging parents. And he just doesn't want,
But it'd be attached to his house.
it would, well,
It wouldn't be near, it'd be right near his house. It wouldn't be anywhere near us. We'd still be, you know, a quarter of an acre away or something.
yeah, I don't know that it'd be attached to his house, but it would be, he said, oriented, of course, toward his house. So,
It's not like a normal neighborhood. I mean, it's Forest Hills. We're like in the woods.
yeah, so anyway, that's what we'd like to do. And again, I can explain why we're interested in having a garage finally.
I show a picture of it.
And I think a picture and a map and so on were distributed, and I'm not sure I would know how to share that right now, but I could hold,
it up.
I could hold a picture up to the camera.
Okay, I'll just say, do we have questions? Deepa, I'll turn it over to you. This is your.
Sure, thank you. Yes, I have a couple things. One is I have, it's worth noting that their house sits on a cul-de-sac. And there is, I can confirm that there is a very big vacant lot between their neighbor Mark and this Mark, who is, and Margot, who are on the Zoom right now. And I've reviewed the documents, I reviewed the drawings, and it seems pretty straightforward to me, frankly. The neighbor is in favor of it. I don't see how this would impact his ability to build something at some point in the future, particularly because the lot between them is a very large lot. And architecturally, it looks like you guys have hired somebody who will put something, you know, in place that looks like it's always been there. So my, you know, as the representative for 3F03, I would recommend approving this exception to the side yard setback.
Thank you. Do we have questions from any other commissioners?
And one more thing I would like to add is, as a matter of policy, my understanding is that the BizNows would like to have this garage so they can plug in an electric car. And as a matter of just sort of policy and precedent, I think that's actually a very good policy and sort of precedent. If it's all logistically doable, we should be encouraging, you know, that kind of initiative around the environment.
I agree. I agree. I drive a hybrid at this point, and I look forward to actually having an all-electric vehicle at some point, and hopefully in the not too distant future. Questions from any other commissioners or comments? David.
Yeah, I just have I guess a clarifying question, and excuse my memory from back then. I'm looking at on my phone at the map. So I guess this garage would go on your existing lot. Is that correct? It would fit on your existing lot, or it would go on the.
Yes, it would just impinge on the 8-yard setback.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, it actually fits kind of neatly because we have sort of an L-shaped side, and most of the addition would be built right into it.
So it would be between your house and I guess to the right is what I'm looking at, an aerial photo.
Oh, no, yeah, that's
on the side. Yep.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay.
Great. Questions from anyone else? Okay, so do we have a motion?
I would like to make a motion to approve, to support ANC support in favor of the side yard exception that the BizNows are seeking in order to build their garage.
Second? I see David indicating a second. All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Hearing none. All done, passed unanimously, 7-0, great job. And steeper for this for BZA. It's not in TOPS. There actually is a BZA form, which they may have already provided if there's already a packet that they may have sent over. If not, we actually have a form on our website, a template. So we can go over that tomorrow.
Okay, and thank you, Mr. Cohen, and to the BizNows, because they've been incredibly forthcoming and responsive in documenting everything within 5 minutes of my asking, actually. So thank you all for being responsive and making this process very smooth.
Thank you. This is just a really good week. So we're
This is just a cap. This is not the capstone of the week.
A new garage and a new president. Congratulations.
But I really want to thank you not only for this, but we've just been witnessing all that you do, and we don't really appreciate it, until we see it. And we just thank you for spending all your time doing this stuff. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much. I'll deliver the president tomorrow.
Thank you, Commissioner, and thank you all. Congratulations to those commissioners on their new positions. Have a nice evening. Thank you again.
Thank you. Have yourself a good night. And so next we have Essex Condominium with just an update on the chiller project. So I'm not sure who we have necessarily from Essex tonight.
Yep, Bill Dent.
Yes, good evening, everyone. I'm Bill Dent. I'm on the board of the Condominium Association.
Hi, Bill.
And hi, how's everybody?
Good, thanks.
I enjoyed getting together with the group of neighbors over at the Forest Hill Park, by the way, and I thought that was very productive. And there were a few of us, including our building manager, came out that day. So we very much support that effort, and hopefully we can make a difference in getting Metropolitan Police to do more community policing, being a little more on the ground. Anyway, I'm glad to report that our sometimes called chiller project, but it's more than that. It's an HVAC project that includes a chiller and a new cooling tower. Is now well underway. The contract was awarded about a month and a half ago to a very reputable firm called W.L. Gary. They're well known in Washington, D.C., and they're specialized in this area. And everything is on schedule. Work is supposed to be concluded in the second half of April, well before the beginning of our normal cooling season. So I just want to provide reassurances that we're on top of it and things are moving along, and we're working with a very good company.
Great. How's the permitting? How's the permitting coming along?
I'm sorry, I didn't.
How's the permitting? Because I know
the permitting. That is proving to be the greatest challenge, ironically.
Yeah.
And if anyone has any ideas for helping to move that along, because we've been working on it for months.
Unfortunately, I don't. I mean, I know that's the biggest pain point.
Yeah, I mean, we can place the order for the equipment. We have the money. We have a top-rate firm, and it would be very ironic that DCRA would be the one causing a delay that would negatively impact the neighborhood.
I don't know if it would be ironic. That would almost be,
yes,
dare I say, a par for the course.
Right.
But
yes, Tony, good to see you. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, good to meet you the other day. I was gonna jump in here. I was trying to figure out where there's a raise hand feature, but
Well, it works, right?
yeah, if we can connect offline, I'm happy to follow up and see where you are within the permitting process.
Okay.
Reach out to our points of contacts at DCRA to see what happens. We all understand the agency can be a bit challenging, but then sometimes it just takes extra.
Yes, especially in these COVID times when a lot of people are working from home.
Yep.
I will send you an email as soon as this meeting is over, and we'll be in touch about it. Appreciate that very much, Tony.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thank you, Tony, because, you've been coming to these meetings for a long time. You know how critical this project really is, that this has been a painful subject in the neighborhood for some time. So
Right.
any assistance you can provide would be greatly appreciated by a lot of people.
Yes, Monica, thank you. Mhm.
So questions from commissioners? Comments? Great.
Okay.
Thank you. Wow, we're doing wonderful time tonight. Okay, community forum time. So, Tony, I know you're going to be one of the people we're going to ask to speak tonight because we have questions for you, or we've been fielding a lot of questions from constituents in the form of emails, in some cases phone calls, about vaccine distribution here in the District of Columbia. But before we turn it over to you to speak, do we have, I see, starting to see hands go up. I see James Tenderek wishes to speak at the community forum. I see Gloria Garcia from Van Ness Main Street. Let's see, do we have anyone else who wishes to speak during the community forum?
David Bardine's hand is up, Monica.
Thank you. Mark that down.
Juanita
David.
Gray.
So Juanita, welcome Juanita. Happy New Year. Great to see you. Okay.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
And anybody else? I think 3 hands. Okay. Let's start with Tony because I had specifically asked him, kind of put him on the spot via email earlier today to speak to us. So let's start with Tony, and then I'm just going to go down the list with James, Gloria, David, and then Juanita.
All right, sounds good. Well, again, good evening, everyone. I am Tony Donaldson Jr., and I serve as the Ward 3 liaison in the Mayor's Office of Community Relations and Services, also known as your MOKers at your service. And I have a few updates tonight pertaining to public safety as well as COVID-19, because these are turning out to be very eventful times here in the district these days. I'm sure that many of you are excited about tomorrow's inauguration of President-elect Biden and Vice President-elect Harris. The mayor has been working very hard with our federal partners to ensure, number one, a peaceful transfer of power, but more importantly, the safety and security of all 712,000 residents in the district. So we are partnering on that front. And I'm sure that you all are aware that there is strict road closures in place in the downtown area. So we are asking all of our neighbors to enjoy the inauguration from home. And as it relates to Ward 3, you may have seen some additional security measures near Observatory Circle, near the Vice President's residence, and other potential road closures in that area. And we are also asking all of our neighbors and residents in the area to sign up for text alerts by texting ANOG 2021 to 888-777. And that's going to be the best way for you to stay up to date with any changes or alerts specific to inauguration activities. And lastly, we're calling on all of our residents to help protect the district. So if you see something, say something. I know that I have gotten a number of calls in the past few weeks with people who are unsure whether or not this is too big or too small. They're not sure. If there is anything out of the normal, anything that makes you raise an eyebrow or take a second look, it's probably safe to just let the officials know. And that's what our MPD is for, to go out and investigate these things. So we have seen an uptick of people reporting suspicious packages that have been found to be clear. But that is part of the process. So you can feel free to call 911 if you think it is a immediate danger and emergency. And if you're unsure, you can always call 202-727-9009. And always you can reach out to me if you're not sure, and I'm happy to pass the information along. And I want to thank the entire commission, both returning and newly elected commissioners, for your service to Ward 3. I join in singing praises to the Housing and Neighborhoods Committee for your efforts in organizing last week's walk. It was very great, and we're already working with some of our government agencies to address some of the concerns that were identified. And now on to COVID-19, which I'm sure that many of you are anxious to hear updates on. Again, like the commissioners, we received many phone calls and messages regarding concerns about the distribution. And tonight, I hope I can provide some clarity because we know that a lot of Ward 3 neighbors are anxiously waiting to be vaccinated. This evening, Mayor Bowser actually announced that this week, the process to vaccinate teachers and school staff will begin. So individuals will receive an email with specific instructions for how they are to schedule their appointments, and that will be in partnership with DC Health and the Children's National Hospital. And our district seniors who are 65 years old and older, as well as our healthcare workers, they will continue to register for appointments using vaccinate.dc.gov portal or by calling the coronavirus call center, and I'm happy to provide that information. The one change is that going forward, starting this week, appointments will be released every Thursday morning at 9 a.m. To eligible residents in priority zip codes. And the additional appointments will be released every Friday at 9 a.m. For all the other zip codes, all zip codes throughout the district. And so it's very important that we understand the importance of the equitable distribution of the vaccine. We saw early on that COVID-19 adversely impacts people of color at a higher rate based on the number of cases that we saw across the city, particularly in wards 5, 7, and 8. We also saw early on in the vaccination process that those same neighbors east of the river, they received the fewest vaccine appointments. And so with that, Mayor Bowser has decided to be intentional about how we are equitably distributing the vaccine. The even bigger message that we see now more than ever is that DC needs more vaccines. We need supply to meet our demand. And we thank everyone for your patience as we work to ensure the equitable distribution of the vaccine. The mayor is working and continuing to advocate to our federal government to increase the allotment of vaccines to the district. And I remain confident, especially after tomorrow with the new administration, we'll see some changes to the vaccine distribution across the entire country. And so with that, I'll thank you all. Now I'm happy to take any questions.
Would you please repeat the text ENOG to what was the number?
Yeah, so it's ENOG like inauguration, the first really 5 letters, INAUG 2021 to phone number 888-777. I also do want to add, it did come up during this meeting, we got notifications that there is some protest activity in the vicinity of ANC 3F near the Comet Pizza shop. MPD is aware and they're on site.
Yeah, I just heard about it just now. It's, yeah.
Yeah, these are strange times, but.
Tony, thanks for that update. A couple of questions. Number one is with the opening of vaccinations availability, I should say, to teachers and school staff, does that include private and public schools or public schools only?
That includes public schools and public charter schools. And I believe further guidance from DC Health may be coming out specifically from each private entity, and charters may have their own process as well. But DCPS and charter can expect to receive guidance, and that will be orchestrated from the Office of the State Superintendent.
Okay, so for now, it doesn't include the independent schools.
No, not at this time.
Okay, and my second question is the schedule that you outlined for achieving more equitable distribution of the vaccine with new vaccination appointments being released every Thursday at 9 a.m. Does that start this week?
Yes, this week, going forward from today.
Okay, and then the next day, Friday at 9 a.m., there will be additional registration appointments available. Is that only if there are leftovers from Thursday, or is there some subset that's being held back? Because I'm trying to figure out whether there's really going to be anything on Friday.
There's an allotment that, we really have, it was very devastating for a lot of people in the administration to see that our neighbors across, east of the river just didn't, for a number of reasons, and we're still identifying those factors, but they were not able to obtain the appointments. So we're allotting a side that is for the priority group. But then there were the appointments on Friday. There will be appointments that open up at 9 a.m. on Friday.
Okay, thank you. And while I have the floor, I do see that somebody on the chat is asking, Andrea is asking, will DC purchase more vaccines over what is allotted, as some states have? That's a question.
Yeah, I can't speak to the specific plan of DC Health right now, but what I do know is that right now we're working with what we have, and that's really the challenge. It's creating this almost Hunger Games for vaccines, and we are really trying to figure out how do we continue to advocate to the federal government to just increase that allotment. I can definitely follow up and find out more information and give it to the commissioners.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you for coming. This is very helpful to have sort of the latest and greatest from the administration. Appreciate it.
Yep, no problem.
I have one additional question, Tony. Again, thanks for being here and for sharing all the information. Is there a way to make the telephone number more prominent and more available to people? I do know that there is a fairly elaborate web registration, but not everyone is fully tech savvy or web enabled. So I think if that were easier and more visible, I do know there's a toll-free number, but if there's a way to just market that more heavily so that folks know there's another way to actually get into the system.
I'll definitely share that note with DC Health and our leadership team. I know one of the efforts that they have started are robocalls, particularly to our seniors, because we know that they, may not have access or immediate access to technology. So we're getting that information out, but we'll definitely look at other ways to amplify that.
Thank you.
Questions from commissioners? Questions from the public?
Hi, yeah, this is Gloria from Venice Main Street. Tony, since now I have you in front of me, do we expect the mayor's current order on that ends on Friday to really end? Do we expect it to be extended at all? I have all the restaurants every day.
So I think everyone's clear. We're talking about the order on dining. Is that specific?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, as of right now, that is the goal. I think it was very clear through the incidents on January 6th that sometimes change, and we just have to monitor the situation as is. But I am hopeful, and I imagine all of us are, that hopefully after this week we can move forward in good faith with the district, and some of our visitors will go back home.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Any other questions for Tony? Okay, Tony, thank you so very much for your presentation, for answering our questions, and for all this information. And it was great seeing you. I guess it was Saturday when we got together. So just thanks.
Yeah.
And see you
And
soon. Thank you.
I'll drop my contact information in the chat for any of the commissioners or neighbors who want to reach out to me directly.
Great. Next up, we have James.
Hey everyone. So I am here to talk about the pending Schools and Universities Committee. So I know that George mentioned it earlier. I am also part of the Housing Neighborhoods Committee, and so I'm here to talk about what this committee could be, and hear if you guys have any questions. So I first want to talk about sort of the reason why this is the case. There's a number of reasons. For one reason, oftentimes schools don't really come to ANC 3F meetings. Really, the only one that really comes consistently is UDC. But we actually have 9 educational institutions within ANC 3F. So that includes daycare preschools all the way up to law schools. And so they are an important part of the community, and it's really important to make sure that they're involved in these sort of conversations, as well as having us working with them along with whatever issues that they are working on right now, especially in the pandemic too. And then another reason too is that, so in sort of general DC Council news, so there actually will not be a formal committee on education with sort of the new crop of council members. So any education issue will be sort of absorbed by the committee of the whole. So what that means that on the DC Council level, there's actually gonna be like no sort of official education committee. And so it's really important for us on the local level to sort of have a committee like where we can work with schools on the local level, so that we can communicate to Mary Cheh and different council members on sort of what the issues happening in our area. How the committee would work is that we would meet, like similar to the other committees as well, we meet 1 to 2 times a month. I would chair that committee. I work as a teacher right now, so I'm an ESL teacher over in Brightwood. So I've been teaching district for about 6 years now. So I have like a general idea about like how schools are run, as well as how to communicate with sort of the education leaders to identify what issues they're working on. There's a member of Housing Neighborhoods, Steve Vaughn, who also wants to join. Also, Commissioners Alex and David have requested interest in the committee too. And so what I want to say is that we're open to anyone that's new to the commissioners that wants to join, as well as anybody here on the call that wants to join the committee. Like, please feel free to contact me for any information on that. During the first few months, we basically would sort of first establish a relationship with like all the different schools itself. And we're doing that because a lot of schools don't really know like what this group is. And so reaching out to them, get a sense of who we are, and sort of identify like what issues they're working on. And then from there, we can sort of brainstorm on solutions for them. I can imagine right now in the pandemic, things on, schools are, either online or virtual, what supports they need for that, enrollment as well too. And so by forming this committee, there'll be a chance for us as ANC3F to sort of establish a relationship with the schools in ANC3F, as well as identify what issues they're working on and trying to see how we can sort of work with them. So I'm here if you have any questions regarding that. I know that talking with David, the hope is that next month there would be sort of a vote on this sort of committee. And so the idea is that this month we would sort of talk about like what this idea is, and then, here to see if any questions are there.
And James, do you see this as also an interface between ANCs and the Board of Education? I mean, Ruth Wattenberg has attended our meetings in the past for things, and certainly has come to us with issues.
Yeah, absolutely. So, definitely working with her and communicating with her on not only what the issues that we're working on 3F, as well as like sort of in like Ward 3. And so having her as sort of a conduit with the state board to identify what issues are happening in ANC 3F.
Questions from commissioners? Or comments? Okay, well, I think, well, obviously this is going to be for the next chair to take up, but I think this is certainly something that we should consider formally at our next ANC meeting. Have a formal proposal put together, and it's certainly something that we should consider. Now, whether it needs to be a subcommittee under Housing and Neighborhoods or a separate standalone committee, that's something that we need to probably consider.
So we talked about it in Housing and Neighborhoods as well, and we felt that it should be more of like a standalone committee, just because education, there's overlap between education, housing, and neighborhoods for sure, but the issues in education are definitely worth having its own standalone committee, as compared to a subcommittee within Housing and Neighborhoods. So we talked about Housing and Neighborhoods last month about that idea.
Okay. I think the way to approach this is to put together a formal written proposal for us. George Hoffman, when he came to us at the end of 2019 with the idea for the Housing and Neighborhoods Committee, actually drafted a formal proposal that was then presented to the ANC. So I would ask that you write something up that we could formally review and vote on. And I think we would debate, and I'll defer to Chair David Castile, but I would imagine it'll make it to either the February or March agenda. Once we can receive the proposal, we'd be happy to take a look at it and take action on it.
Yeah, I think that's the protocol that, James has been working on this. We've had some conversations with Housing and Neighborhood Committee, particularly George. And it's really, it's up to us. And it's, I think it's a good idea. I think there's a need for it. And so then it's really, it's before the full commission, whether it's February or March, but I think we can get something together, for the February, for the February meeting in advance. So the 7 of us have enough time to sort of look at it and think about questions, and then hopefully take an action in February.
By the way, I love hearing the fact the 7 of us, for 2 years, we did not have a full ANC. And so I guess love hearing just the phrase, the 7 of us. It's wonderful. Okay. Any other questions or comments for James on this, for anyone? Okay, thank you, James. Gloria, Van Ness Main Street, you are
Hi.
next.
Thanks, Monica. Yeah, this is Gloria Garcia, the Executive Director of Van Ness Main Street. Welcome to all the commissioners. I'm also very excited to work with all of you, and I know I've talked to some of you and met you. You've been out there volunteering, planting bulbs, some of you, and so welcome. I'm really excited to work with all of you. Following that, Van Ness Main Street has been super busy since last we met. We also have welcomed 5 new board members, and we have a new board chair, Barbara Lardy. And so we did announce our board last week. I invite you to go onto our website and check about, and you'll see all the bios there. We'll probably do a little bit more in-depth partnering with Forest Hills Connection about our new board members, but it's very exciting times. And with that, we've also started a call for our committees. We have 4 committees, 3 that are open to the public, and we'd like, to spread the word. I think there's a huge opportunity to bring in more talent and expertise on our Economic Development Committee, which is going to be key to the recovery coming out of the pandemic. We also have a design committee, and we have an events committee. So I urge all of you to think about it. Reach out to me, but it's all up on our website as well under About. We've already put out a call, and we'll continue to put out calls through social media and through the Forest Hills Connection. One exciting thing that has happened is this year we launched an equity grant program. So we, while we're in Upper Northwest, more than 50% of our small businesses are minority or women-owned. So we have been able to give out more than $23,000 in December to some of the businesses that really needed a bridge between all the other grants and PPP. So our next grant program will launch at the end of January, and that'll be open to all the businesses. But we are really excited to help those that, are really struggling, especially at the end of the year. Many of you might have seen the streetery that's in front of the 5000 block of Connecticut Avenue. It took a long time, and TOPS is my new best friend, and as are some key people at DDOT. And while the weather has not been cooperative, we expect the emergency order to be extended through the end of 2021. So they're going to be ready for spring to have more outdoor space. And it's being shared by Americano and Rosemary's Bistro right now. So, hopefully the weather will start cooperating. The last thing I wanted to talk about, well, first of all, I do want to mention the food pantry that came up earlier. I just want to put out there that my board the executive committee did meet. We are supportive of the food pantry. There is a huge need in this area. And we have made it clear to Ward 3 Mutual Aid that we see it as a short and medium term. Van Ness Main Street is still committed to work with UDC and KLMB to lease that space permanently for long-term retail, but it's a great use of the space right now, and it's much needed right now. So we are in support of the food pantry as it works itself through the system. And last but not least, we have a new light art project. I don't know how many of you have seen the light projection project that's been for the past year on my building. I actually live at the Hastings, and it's in the southern wall. And it's a partnership between Bread First, since we're using their electricity, and the flagship roof where the actual lights are positioned. And we have a brand new light art project that went up this week just in time for, welcoming our new board, welcoming our new ANC, acknowledging how we doubled in size by expanding our border to Nebraska Avenue last year. And also just our overall theme, I think, as many of us are feeling in anticipation of tomorrow. So Stronger Together is the message that's up on the wall. And, we invite people to take a stroll and see it once, we're, the military, lockdown is lifted. But tomorrow evening, as part of the inauguration activities, Illumination DC will happen at 5:30 p.m. And so we rushed to get this light, change the message in time for tomorrow evening at 5:30. They are also asking, since we can't metro down there, we can't ride our scooters or our bikes, like we're used to down to inauguration, because it's in our backyard. It's part of DC. It's part of what we do. So they came up with this idea, which is a great idea, to put little lights in all of our windows. So I'm prepping for tomorrow night. I'm going to have little, battery operated tea lights in our windows. And they're asking all residents of DC who can to do that, just in solidarity, and it giving us something to do to acknowledge the peaceful transition of power that we hope will occur tomorrow. So that's it. If anybody has any questions, but we're super excited for 2021.
Questions from anyone?
This is Commissioner Alex. I really, Gloria, I really appreciate your support on the working with the Ward 3 Mutual Aid. I did speak to Judith today, so I know you wrote the proposal, and so we're really looking forward to having that as part of our community and making sure that that folks have access to healthy food.
Yeah, that'll be great. And remember that we planted a lot of bulbs in front of 4225. So it's going to look good too, so we have that to look forward to. 1,900 bulbs are going to bloom in a couple months.
Wow. That's.
Yeah, it's exciting.
I would like to take a minute to just acknowledge how much Gloria has done over the past year, especially for our businesses. Her level of responsiveness and her initiative to look forward and to see what our small businesses need, even before they need it, has been phenomenal. And the communication, I am on her communications in part because I was on the board of Van Ness Main Street before this, and also in part because of my association previously with Bread First. But she has done a phenomenal job, and so much of it is behind the scenes. And I think that if our small businesses were here right now, I don't know if any are on this call, they can attest to that. Her support has been instrumental in helping them navigate the past year or so. So Gloria, thank you. Thank you.
I know, thank you, Deepa. That means a lot. I just celebrated my year anniversary on January 14th with, and I thought, where did the year go?
Well, hopefully there's many more. Thank you, Gloria.
Oh, thanks, Deepa.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, then let us move on to, thank you, Gloria, and let's move on to David Bardeen. Welcome, David.
Hi, thank you. Monica, can you hear me?
Hear you loud and clear.
Good. Earlier this evening, Commissioner Castile tried to engage me, and I didn't say anything, and I didn't mean to be rude, Commissioner. And it wasn't because you were pronouncing my name in the Quebec or Gallic style rather than the Bardine as I use. It was simply because I couldn't figure out how to unmute myself. So I apologize for that.
You got it now.
And you didn't miss anything for your purpose then, because I couldn't have reported for Erica. She'll speak for herself when she attends a meeting, speak for herself and the committee. But I did raise a question with her that I would like to raise with you, Commissioner Steele. By the way, congratulations to all of those of you who've been elected. And I'm delighted with Monica that we have 7 commissioners finally, which is a hell of a luxury compared to what you've been living with before. But I had a question about the population of committees based on what I understood had been the practice before. And I think perhaps the best thing would be just to have an offline conversation with Commissioner Christine about it to see, I don't know if it's clear what the question is, but the practice I saw, or I think I saw, was that the commission seemed to feel that it had to approve the actual membership of each committee so that we had changes, adding people or subtracting to what's now the Parks and Watersheds Committee, but might apply to others, had to come to a vote before the full commission. I don't feel that this is something that I know a great deal about. It's been a long time since I chaired the commission, and at that time we didn't have any of this kind of issue that I recall. But if my number, Commissioner Christine, is 202, it's a landline, 202-966-7678. And when it's convenient for you, I'd appreciate a chance to just explain the issue as I understand it. And then I'm sure we'll be able to straighten it out. Again, congratulations to all 7, and to the commission for having 7, and congratulations to the new officers.
Thanks, David. I'll give you a call.
Thank you.
Thank you, David.
See you soon.
And so, Juanita Gray, welcome.
Hi. Someone washing their hands? Or dishes?
Yeah, there was some background noise, but welcome.
Hi, okay. Okay, that's better. We're not. Okay, I'm just gonna keep going. So, hello everyone, Juanita Gray, the University of the District of Columbia. Welcome and congratulations to all of the new commissioners. We're happy to have you. We look forward to working with you over the next few years. I will be reaching out to the new commissioners via your ANC email addresses to set up a meeting to meet President Mason, just a quick meet and greet. You know, Monica, there might be a way for you to mute everybody.
I'm looking.
I can unmute myself.
I'm trying to figure out where that noise is coming from. Because
Somebody's a good scrubber out there.
Yeah.
Where are you?
Everybody except for this.
And I
Because
apologize. I'm just
literally everyone is on mute. Let me, okay, I'm gonna hit mute all, and then Juanita, you should be able to take yourself off mute.
Yes, maybe they're dialed in. I don't know. There's some shopping going on. Okay, I'll just keep going really quickly. So the university started last Monday on the 11th. We are virtual for the semester. We plan on being virtual for the entirety of the semester. If anything changes, I will definitely let the commissioners know. I don't have enrollment numbers right now. Right now, students still have the opportunity to add and drop courses, so that determines who's full-time and part-time. So by next month's meeting, I should have enrollment numbers for you. And then lastly, just quickly, Thursday, February
Speak in
8th. Thursday, February 18th is the university's Founders Day, and we are celebrating 170 years. We're celebrating 170 years. Oh, it stopped. Okay. We're celebrating 170 years. Yeah, so that's it.
Congratulations, UTC.
Thanks.
Questions for Juanita from anyone? I think we got all that despite all the background noise. Okay, then we have one final person who reached out to me in chat, and that is Michael from Mary Chay's office. So Michael.
Hey everyone, for folks who don't know me, my name is Michael Porcello. I'm Councilmember Mary Chay's Legislative Director. And again, congrats to everyone new on the commission and welcome back to those who were here before. I wanted to give just a couple quick updates on what's going on in our office and at the council level. The first being the council today approved its 2021 oversight schedule. I won't run through all of the dates for you, but feel free to reach out to me and I can share them. Our committee, Transparency and the Environment, will be having hearings in the month of February, and then budget hearings after the mayor releases her budget March 31st. No hint yet what the budget is going to look like because the mayor usually doesn't share many details before she releases it. And also, obviously, things are ongoing in terms of sort of what, what's going to look federal, any future federal stimulus package, if it'll states, and sort of what the impact that will have on the budget. But to that degree, there will be oversight and then budget hearings coming up. They'll all be virtual and you'll be able to find out how to join those on the website, or you can email me. I just don't want to burden everyone here with going through a list of when they all are. I also wanted to flag, since folks had questions about school reopening, or that was brought up, not reopening, but term 3, which is going to begin, I believe, on February 1st. The council's actually having a hearing at 1 p.m. this Thursday. The committee of the whole is holding it. There's going to be public witnesses who I'm sure will ask some great questions, but also Chancellor Farabee will be there. I imagine he will answer any questions that folks have, but a lot of it will be focused on vaccine rollout, the return to school for some of our older grades, and things like that. So if you want to check that out, you can go to the DC Council webpage, and it will be on our live video feed there. I believe you can also watch it on the council page on Facebook, but don't quote me on that because I usually just go to the website. And the last thing I just wanted to say was I saw somebody had shared a good way to sign up for vaccine updates through the Department of Health. I'll share another link that's just directly to the page where you can either put in your phone number or your email address to get daily updates sort of on the status of when vaccines are made available, when they fill up. There's just a bunch of other good information straight from DC Health. I also put in, the council member puts out, which these days ends up being almost like a every other day newsletter that has a lot of, it does a lot of good detail in it and goes into more depth sort of into what's going on, updates. For example, the one that went out today was just on inauguration, boast about street closures, what we can expect, safety, things like that. And you can access those newsletters or sign up for them at her website, marychay.com. Yeah, so I just wanted to update you all, and that's what's going on at the council. And happy to answer any questions that if you have them.
I'm assuming the oversight schedule is posted to the DC Council website?
I don't know if it is posted just yet because it was actually approved at about noon today, and sometimes it takes them a second, but it should be posted momentarily. And I honestly, I'll put my email in the chat. I'm happy to email folks the draft one. I just don't have a link I can share yet because I don't know if it's up yet.
Okay, thanks.
Commissioner, I have the dates in front of me if you need them. I was listening to the hearings this morning. The performance oversight hearings begin February 8th and run through March 19th. And the budget hearings begin April 7th and run through May 6th.
Thank you. I was but usually it's broken out by a specific committee for specific topics. That's why I was kind of curious to like what's what, because there might be some that I might.
I'll shoot that to you, Monica, and if you want to share the draft with folks, I would only caution, I know that we caught a couple just typos or like something says Tuesday the 19th and the 19th is actually a Monday, so it's.
I can wait for it to be up on the website. That's not a problem, because I figure it'll eventually get there, if not now, tomorrow, or Thursday.
Yeah, it should be up within a day, if not already, I just haven't looked.
Okay, thank you. Questions from anyone? Commissioner Castillo, looks like.
Yeah, I mean, thanks, Michael, for joining us, and thanks, Juanita, for the hearings on the budget hearing. So if the hearings are the 7th of April to the 6th of May, then I guess the question, and you don't have to answer this, but just what's a good time for the ANC to weigh in on that process?
Sure, on the budget specifically?
Yes.
Yes, I always recommend shortly after the mayor's budget is released. So that's going to be March 31st. She's going to transmit it to the council, and that's sort of when everybody sees it. Obviously give yourself some time to dive into it, but you can always reach out beforehand. It's just hard for us to give as good a feedback if we haven't seen her presentation yet, the mayor's presentation. But honestly, you can always reach out before and after just to say this is what we're looking for, and then to touch base in early April to say we didn't see this or we did. Because we, in our office, I don't know how every office works, but we keep a long spreadsheet of different conversations we have and things that people have brought up, both with meetings with the council member or where she isn't a part of that meeting. So we will always loop back as well if we don't hear from you, if it's from before the budget.
Okay, thanks for that.
And David, it's my experience that even during performance oversight, that's where to start getting engaged, because if you have specific topics where you want to push, you want to start expressing that during performance oversight, and get that into DC Council's ear at that point, and then hammer it home again during the budget cycle, because that's really where things start to percolate.
Right, and so for those of you that are still with us, again, I think we waited on some budget issues this last year, but I think we're now that there's 7 of us strong, let us know out there what your concerns are from a budgetary perspective, and we'll try and, again, and then, kind of get to the 7 of us and try and figure out some coherent message to, the council member and the mayor going
And
forward.
individuals may be testifying just in an individual capacity on various topics of interest to them, or for various areas that may be of concern. So, for example, I'm, in addition to being here at 3F, I am chair now of the ANC Rainbow Caucus. So I will be paying keen attention to LGBTQ issues that are coming up before council, and start looking at first the performance performance hearings, and anything where I feel I should be weighing in, or have the ANC Rainbow Caucus start to look at things then again in the budget cycle itself. So.
Yeah, David, this is Gloria. For us, it's going to be the Department of Small and Local Business Development's performance hearing. And then also in the budget, protecting the Main Streets budget. We're already nervous right now because there's precedent from the last major recession in 2007 where budgets were slashed, and they were slashed even though we got our full funding this year. There's chatter about us losing money before the end of the year. That's just the old timers, but we're all very, very nervous about it. So those will be some key things for us as a Main Street that will be,
Right, and I think, appreciate that, Gloria, and I see Juanita's kind of between, actually, Claudette's between Juanita and I, but Juanita for UDC, if there's budgetary needs that you all have, we certainly want to, as best we can support those. So anybody else out there, I mean, this is the time to kind of get, so we can, this is one of the areas where I think hopefully we can use our great weight to weigh in on these things, these budget issues.
And Gloria, can I say, if you hear anything like that, please do flag it for our office. We've heard, not on the Main Street front, but some different grantees from nonprofits have come to us because some agencies, a number of agencies have been asked to find savings.
Yeah.
Not earlier in the year, earlier last fall. And that's something that we can try to help with the executive, where
Yeah.
the impact
Yeah.
of different cuts and things like that.
I appreciate that, Michael. We don't have anything firm. It's just our impression from working with DSLBD right now. And then some of the old timers that lived through the 07. So, luckily Van Ness Main Street has a little bit of cushion. But, the others that don't have cushion, this could be really devastating. So I will let you all know, but, right now it's just chatter.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Yes, Monica?
Yes, David, please.
Michael, thank you very much for this report. It's helpful. I'd like to ask you to take one thing up with Councilmember Shea. As a constitutional law professor and a seasoned politician, we have a problem, and this is about statehood. And I realize statehood is not going to come up for a vote on the Senate side for months. And I realize that the chairman of the council doesn't want to use any time to increase our chances for statehood until he's convinced that the Senate is actually going to take up statehood, which is a kind of chicken and egg thing. I would like Councilmember Shea to consider and to press the chairman of the council to take up time to improve the statehood proposal, and very specifically the name of the proposed new jurisdiction, which the council invented. It was not in the referendum. It was not in the mayor's proposal. And in this proposal, we would be both a state like New Jersey and a commonwealth like Pennsylvania or Virginia. It doesn't make any sense to be both at the same time. It's the sort of thing that when people want to attack us for one thing or another, they will make fun of it. And it could be so easily cleared up by the council fixing that. So I would appreciate it if you would discuss that with Councilmember Shea and suggest to her. And commissioners, I may bring this up in the future for commission consideration, but at this point, I would like to see how we could accelerate the improvement of our statehood proposal to increase its chances of ultimately being approved.
Certainly, David, I'll pass that on to the council member.
Thank you.
His office as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay, then we've reached the end of the public, or the community forum. Do we have any other business for tonight? Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I was waiting, come on, come on. And we got it done in 2 hours, folks. That's got to be a record for us. I guess there's an advantage to having a new commission.
Yeah.
We are adjourned, everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you all.
Happy to turn over the metaphorical gavel to Commissioner Castile after tonight. So thanks, everyone.
Take care.
Night.
Good
Thanks
night.
everyone for coming.
Thanks.